almost wasn't ready today because I was feeling kind of sick, but I'm feeling much better now. So, let's get started. Ed Gein, aka the Butcher of Plainfield. Ed Gein was born in La Crosse County, Wisconsin. His parents was his father, George, who was an alcoholic, and Augusta Gein, who was his extremely religious mother. He had an older brother, Henry George Gein. Eventually, the family purchased a farm on the outskirts of the small town of Plainfield, Wisconsin. Gosh, I lost my place. Which then became... Eventually, the family purchased a farm on the outskirts of the small town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, which then became the family's permanent home. The boys had a very isolated childhood, only ever leaving home to attend school. Ed was very shy and some found him kind of strange, which made him a target for bullies. Classmates and teachers are called off-putting mannerisms, such as random laughter, as if he was laughing at his own personal jokes. Which I do that a lot, so I don't know if that's strange. Sometimes I'm just that funny. To make matters worse, his mother punished him whenever he tried to make friends. Despite his poor social development, he did fairly well in school, particularly in reading. Augusta Gein preached to her boys the innate immorality of the world, the evil of drinking, and the belief that all women, excluding herself of course, were naturally promiscuous prostitutes and the instruments of the devil. She reserved time every afternoon to read to them from the Bible, usually selecting graphic verses from the Old Testament dealing with death, murder, divine retribution. Henry Gein started opposing his mother's views on the world and obsessively devoted to his mother. Ed would describe her as a saint. Side note, not sure how reliable this is because many sources I found on Augusta, and because I couldn't find many sources on Augusta and George's marriage, but from what little I could find, it wasn't a very happy one. Apparently they would fight a lot, and Augusta would even pray for the death of her husband in front of Ed and Henry, which is a real shitty thing to do. If you're bickering with your partner, you should really leave your kids out of that. On April the 1st, 1940, Ed Gein's father, George, died of a heart failure caused by his alcoholism at age 66. Henry and Ed began doing odd jobs around town to help cover living expenses. The community found the brothers to be reliable and trustworthy. Henry began dating a divorced mother of two and planned to move in with her. He worried about his brother's attachment to their mother and often spoke ill of her around Ed, who always responded shocked and hurt that he would oppose his mother. On May 16, 1944, Henry and Ed were burning away marsh vegetation on the property. The fire got out of control, drawing attention to the local fire department. By the end of the day, the fire had been extinguished by firefighters. Ed reported his brother missing. With lanterns and flashlights, a search party searched for Henry, whose dead body was found. Henry's death is very odd. Apparently, he had been dead for some time. It appeared that the cause of his death was heart failure, since he had not been burned or injured otherwise. I looked into this fire because it's very suspicious, and multiple people say multiple different things. So, take this part with a little grain of salt because I found it on, like, Reddit. But the fire Henry died in was suspected to be arson. And when Ed led people back in later to find Henry, he managed to lead them right to him, despite saying they had gotten separated. And that, Henry may have had possible strangulation marks, so that's interesting. But like I said, take it with a grain of salt because I got that little tidbit from Reddit. But the fire is suspicious nonetheless. It was later reported that Henry had bruises on his head. The police dismissed the possibility of foul play, and officially listed asphyxiation as the cause of death. The authorities accepted the accident theory and no official investigation was conducted, and an autopsy was not performed. A lot of people believe Ed killed Henry. In Augusta, Ed's mother had a stroke shortly after Henry's death. Gein devoted to himself to taking care of her, and she died on December 29th, 1945. Ed was devastated by her death. Ed held on to the farm, earned money from odd jobs, boarded up rooms used by his mother, including the upstairs and downstairs parlor and living room, leaving them untouched. While the rest of the house became increasingly disgusting, those rooms remained pristine. On November 16th, 1957, Bernice Worden was reported missing from her hardware store. Her son, Deputy Sheriff Frank Worden, entered the store around 5 p.m. to find the store's cash register open and bloodstains on the floor. Frank Worden told investigators that before his mother disappeared, Ed had been in the store and he was there for a gallon of antifreeze. The sales slip for a gallon of antifreeze was the last receipt written by Worden the morning she disappeared. Authorities went to Ed's home that night and found Worden's decapitated body in a shed on Gein's property, hung upside down by her legs with a crossbar at her ankles and ropes at her wrists. Her torso was dressed out like a deer. I should probably... Content warning, by the way. It's about to get gruesome. I probably should have said that before. Whoops. This is... What they find in the house is, icky. Other things found, whole human bones and fragments. yeah, sorry for waiting to say that. I'm doing good. How are you? But other things I found was whole human bones and fragments, a waste basket of human skin covering several chair seats, skulls on his bedpost, female skulls with tops sawn off, bowls made out of human skulls, a corset made from a female torso skinned from the shoulders to waist, leggings made from human leg skin, masks made from the skin of female heads, Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag, Mary Hogan's skull in a box, Bernice Worden's entire head in a burlap sack, Bernice Worden's heart in a plastic bag in front of Gein's potbelly stove, 9 vulvas in a shoebox, a young girl's dress, and... no, I'm not gonna say that part. A belt made from female human nipples, 4 noses, a pair of lips on a window shade drawstring, a lampshade made out of the skin of a human face, and lastly, fingernails from female fingers. Whew, that was a mouthful. Had to change some camera batteries, but other than that, I'm good. This got very creative, huh? Yeah, that's definitely one thing you can say about Ed Gein is, he was very, creative. Under questioning, Gein confessed to killing Bernice Warden and Mary Hogan. Mary Hogan was a tavern owner, missing since 1954, which was like 3 years earlier, whose head was found in his house. It's not exactly clear what he did to her or how their altercation went. However, we do know that Bernice Warden's cause of death was a single gunshot wound. So I imagine the same thing happened to Mary Hogan. After his mother's death, Ed began visiting graveyards in the dead of night. He dug up the graves of women he thought looked like his mother, took them home, treated their skin to create a leather effect. Once their skin was tanned, he started to create a woman's suit using the remains of his victims, because he wanted to, quote, become his mother and crawl into her skin, unquote. One source said, a 16-year-old youth whose parents were friends with Ed, who attended ball games and movies with him, reported that Ed kept shrunken heads in his house, which had been described as relics from the Philippines, sent by a cousin who had served there during World War II. Upon investigation by the police, these were determined to be human facial skins carefully peeled by the corpses used by Gein as masks. So Gein was lying when he said that. They were just people in the graveyard. During questioning, Ed denied having sex with the bodies because, quote, they smelled too bad. I guess that was the only reason he was against doing that, I guess. But if they smell so bad, why would you wear them as a mat? I'm not even getting into it. I can't remember where I heard this. I couldn't find it anywhere, so take it with a grain of salt because I could not find it in my research. But I remember once hearing that when Mary Hogan was missing, anytime somebody would bring up her being missing and wondering what happened to her, Ed would say, I killed her, or she's at my house, and everyone assumed he was making a weird joke. Again, take that with a grain of salt because I couldn't find anything on it, but I remember hearing that somewhere. Ed was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He died in the Mendota Mental Health Institute due to respiratory failure secondary to lung cancer on July 26, 1984, at the age of 77. Ed Gein is known as the inspiration for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, and Norman Bates from one of my personal favorites, Psycho. Along with other countless things, I even found a band named Ed Gein in my research, so there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, that's all my info on Ed Gein. What do you guys think? So made human drip. Yes, that is most certainly what he did. Yeah, he kind of had an obsession with his mother, and, he kind of snapped after she died. Like I said, I personally think, and a lot of people have an issue with calling him a serial killer because he technically only killed 2 people that we know of. However, I kind of think it's perfectly fine to call him a serial killer, because we know if he didn't get caught, he would have done this again. And I'm pretty sure he killed his brother. I'm on the side that believes he did do it. Just because there's a lot of sus stuff. His brother was against his mother's teachings, called his mother out multiple times to his mother in front of Ed. Ed probably saw him as somebody who, he saw his mother as basically God, I think. So I guess he kind of thought, I don't know. Like I said, we don't know for sure if he killed his brother, but I'm of the belief that he did. Overall, quite the oddball killer. Yeah. This case is one that really fascinates me. Just because Ed Gein is so, I guess, interesting. What's the word? Yeah, just odd, I guess. Just very odd. Um, he, yeah, that's just all there really is to say about it. Ed Gein was a weird dude. Um, but yeah, I am of the belief that, he belonged in a mental institution. I genuinely think he was mentally unwell, and I don't think there'd be much a debate otherwise. I wonder if people bought the stuff he made. I would assume not, because, that would be like evidence, you know? There was an auction for, the stuff in his house, I believe. That thousands of people gathered for, but I don't think they sold any of the stuff he made out of corpses. There is, you can easily find images, though, on the internet. I can't show them. I don't think I can show them on stream, but it's very easy. Just Google, like, I don't know, Ed Gein mask, Ed Gein lampshade, heck, Ed Gein photos. You'll find it very easily. Content warning, though, by the way. You know, if you're uncomfortable with seeing corpses turned into furniture, maybe that's not the kind of thing you should be looking up, but I'm not your freaking dad. Do what you want. But yeah, it's very easy to find. I'll look into it later since I'll be eating, lol. Yeah. One thing I couldn't find, which I didn't look too heavy into it, was if Ed Gein was a cannibal. Cause like it said, they found I'm wanting to say. Let me look at my notes again. Alright, right here. They found Bernice Wooden's heart in a plastic bag in front of Ed's stove. So it kind of makes me wonder if he was planning to eat parts of the body, or if he had before. I did read that he developed an interest in like stuff on cannibalism and I'm gonna say German World War II stuff. So I don't know. was a weird guy. He was a weird guy. I kind of think he may have eaten. He may have tried eating him. I think I'm of the belief that he may have been a cannibal as well. But yeah, sorry my notes were so short. I could have swore this was gonna be longer. Oh gee, why would he be interested in eating people? Well, he wanted to, literally become his mother. So I don't know if he thought, like, eating women would... I don't know. He was just an odd dude. His unhealthy obsession with his mother's very poor parenting abilities. I think there was just a lot there. But, yeah, it's just a very weird case. Since it's been so short, I'm gonna look up some, like, fun facts about Ed Gein and we can roast this fool together. I don't know. Ed Gein. Let's see, photos, can't show that. Facts. We could look up fun facts about human skin. Oh. We could. That'd be interesting. Jane would carefully display. Oh yeah, we already discussed that. He would choose women that he thought looked like his mother. When his house was discovered, the rooms of Augusta were found sealed and completely untouched. Yeah. He did, like, leave rooms that Augusta used alone, which is very, I guess, normal, but also weird. Like, leaving her room alone, I get, but I don't see why he left, like, the living room and stuff alone. Can I talk about... I'm not sure I can talk about Ed Gein's first orgasm on the stream, so let's skip that one. Yeah. His mother was very, anti-sex, which is strange because she had 2 children. But, I digress. Oh. Ed Gein, I mentioned his grave is unmarked, but I didn't mention why. Apparently, like, there were a lot of people would, like, desecrate his grave and stuff like that, or steal his headstone. So eventually people were just like, let's leave this unmarked. I forget all the details. I should have put that in my notes. The only reason I didn't was because I was like, okay, this is getting very long, but I kind of went over everything already. So I guess I should have put that in my notes. Depraved facts about serial killers. Let's see. I'm not 100% sure what case I'm gonna cover next. I'm really interested in mafia stuff as of late, so maybe we'll go into the mafia. We can go into, Golden Age Hollywood. Very interesting stuff there. And if you have a case you're interested in, feel free to say so. I'm mostly interested in, vintage cases. I personally just think it's easier to talk about a case where that's really old, there's not really people out and about. I guess it's a lot easier to talk about an old wound rather than a fresh one, I guess. Let's see, I'm not finding really any interesting ed facts that I didn't already say. This is a pretty cut and dry case. Oh yeah, and somebody eventually, his house was going to be auctioned, but some arsonist burned it down. If that's, of interest to you. Yeah, I really gotta work on, lengthening these, because usually by the time anybody shows up, I'm like literally done explaining everything. We could look into that more. Which thing? What that be? Wait, what's this? Okay. Not sure how true this is, but I'm just gonna read it anyway for the sake of it. Apparently, someone named Werner Herzog and Errol Morris had a plan to dig up Ed's mother's grave. Errol Morris, the documentary filmmaker behind The Thin Blue Line, was obsessed with Ed Gein, specifically the pathology and the methodology of his crimes. He spent a couple of years living in Plainfield, Wisconsin, going so far as to rent a room near where Gein lived in the 50s. The process of conducting interviews about Gein, Morris found out that the graves Ed dug up formed a perfect circle around his mother's. It is believed while pillaging graves, Ed dug a tunnel beneath the cemetery leading to his mother so that he could take her back to his farmhouse without anyone being the wiser. Coincidentally, director Werner Herzog soon came to town with his movies Drozek, I can't read. Morris told him about the rumor. The two hatched a plan to dig up Ed's mother's grave to see if anything was in there. It's not clear when Herzog or Morris were planning to do this, but the story goes that Herzog showed up with a shovel in hand, but Morris chickened out, so they never carried out their ghoulish plan. They did, however, find out which one of them was the biggest weirdo. Okay. That's actually something I sort of thought about too. Not that Ed had a secret tunnel to the cemetery. I don't think that. But if he ever dug up his mother, I don't put it past him, but I don't see why he wouldn't have taken her back with him. I just don't understand that. Because I feel like if he had brought his mother to the house, that would have been in my notes. That would have been easy information to find. But you don't find anything like that, which is very weird. Alright, well, sorry this was so short. I'll try to lengthen up my last one. My next one, I mean. I keep thinking like, oh, this is too short, and then I'll then I'll read it, and I'll be like, oh shit, I'm done. And then my first viewer will pop in and be like, hi. I'm gonna go like, yeah. Oh gosh, I messed this up. So, yeah, maybe I should just wait a little bit before I talk or something. Have a little bit more patience. But, thank you all for stopping by. And, bye-bye. I was about to say hello.